Mount Thomas 308 at the Lovett's Place, reported disturbance.
Copy, Mount Thomas 308.
You get out of my way, Lovett, or I'll run you down.
This is my land, you mug. No one comes through this gate without permission.
Come on, Stan. Let's leave it to the locals.
Hillary?
Hello, Wayne. We've got some fool here claiming my uncle's land is his.
Could you ask your uncle to step out of the car? Thank you, sir.
So what's the stock squad doing here?
Up for the weekend with the rallies.
Someone's going to get hurt. He needs to be sorted out.
I'll sort you out, Lovett.
This is my land.
I paid you good money for this property, and you know it.
All right, who owns the land?
I do.
Stan owns it.
He's never worked it. It's mine now.
Adverse possession.
Any landholder who relinquishes proprietorship and ceases to maintain active ownership of said holding forfeits title in favour of active user.
Translate that for me.
Well, I've adjusted stock there for 13 years. I've built 2 dams, fixed the fences. Horvath's done nothing.
But who actually owns the land?
I do. Under the law of...
Adverse possession. I've never heard of it.
Well, take a look at the Transfer of Land Act and the Limitations of Action Act. It's all in there.
How much land are we actually talking about?
150 hectares of prime grazing land and my old family home.
How are you? Elsie! Stan!
Hello, Patrick!
Oh, what brings you up this way, eh?
Trying to retire.
Oh, they finally tip you out of that big leather chair, did they, Stan?
With a little persuasion.
Patrick Joseph.
Hillary.
How's your command of common law? Stan had no idea what was happening. He bought the land 13 years ago for their retirement.
We were going to run some stock on the place. Beef cattle. Murray Greys.
Beautiful creatures.
I checked with Lovett by phone occasionally. Mainly left him to his own devices. I'd have come up here, but he made it sound as if everything was just fine.
I don't think that it's going to be straightforward if Jeff Lovett's involved. Story goes he took an export agent for a bundle. He was selling by weight, so he salted the feed and they drank gallons of water. He's always looking for the edge.
It's not right what he's doing.
I'll destroy the bastard.
You won't destroy anyone, Stan. We will handle this, all right?
Oh, yeah? How?
Well?
You seem very well informed on this legislation, Mr. Lovett. Sounds like a borderline scam to me.
Well, it pays to know the law, Sergeant.
Oh, Mr. Lovett. We don't want any trouble over this.
Well, there won't be any, so long as Horvath stays off my land.
Oh, yes, this is Sergeant Croydon at Mount Thomas. I need some advice from the prosecutor's office, please. Yes, I'll wait.
It'll be all right, Stan. We've got Hillary with us, and Patrick's good at his job. The police will sort it out.
Sergeant Croydon can see you now, Mr. and Mrs. Horvath.
About time, too.
What? Why didn't you tell me you were coming out?
I wanted to catch you with your pants down.
Oh, well, that could be arranged.
Figuratively speaking, of course.
Of course.
Hillary?
I've made a few calls and the news isn't good. According to the prosecutor's office, Mr. Lovett may have a case.
On what grounds?
He's improved the land, run his stock there, generally been using it for 13 years.
It doesn't make sense.
It's an old law designed for fencing disputes, unclaimed land.
I own it. That's the best claim I know.
Because he's been running the property for so long, apparently it entitles Mr. Lovett to make a claim for ownership.
I paid good money for that land. I paid the rates on it. I own it. He's trying to pinch it from me. I phoned him to warn him that we were coming up here. He said nothing on the phone, but he was waiting at that gate when we arrived.
In modern terms, it's theft and maybe fraud.
Not according to the advice I've had. It's a civil, not a criminal matter.
That's it?
Unless there's likely to be a breach of the peace involved, we can take no further action.
That's the law. That's what we pay taxes for.
I'd suggest you keep right away from Mr. Lovett until this matter's been resolved through the courts.
That could take years.
I'm sorry. All I can suggest is that you find a good lawyer.
Right, this is a list of top-notch solicitors. They specialise in land claims.
Wouldn't have to be too brilliant for this case. Tenant steals land, owners complain, police do nothing. How simple can it get?
Hill, that sort of reaction is just going to heat the situation.
Lovett's a bloody thief, and you expect me not to get upset about it?
Oh, he's certainly got your uncle's characteristics. Fiery temper, pig-headed, won't listen. The only thing you don't have in common is that you've got a sense of humour.
Stan got into this mess because he was being generous. If he charged adjustment fees, there'd be none of this. You think I've got a sense of humour?
Yeah. Last time you were in town, standing me up, very funny. Still, I managed to find someone else to give the flowers to.
Oh, I'm sure you did. Who?
Peppercorn Wren. You heard of her?
No. Who'd you give the flowers to?
Well, in the old days, there used to be a way around the adverse possession law. The tenant paid somebody the rent.
Good old days, huh?
Yeah.
Who got the flowers?
Nick Schultz.
This, peppercorn rent business.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like explaining it to me again? Somewhere a little more private?
No, it's very complicated. It could take a couple of hours.
I hope so. Come prepared?
Yeah, 6 boxes of chips, assorted. Yeah, and 3 boxes of peanuts. Oh, and give us a box of those chili nuts. Some of the boys are mad about it.
How many pencils do you usually need?
Box full.
How long did it take until you got to do something around here?
I arrived on a busy day.
I think I should speak to Sergeant Croydon, ask him to put me on patrol.
I'd pick your moment.
How many typewriter ribbons?
They're printer ribbons, not typewriter ribbons.
Same number as we got last time, on there.
Boss, I wanted to ask you about being put on more active duties.
Yeah, good idea, Cooper. Schultz.
Yes, yes.
Take young Cooper out with you.
Oh, well, I'm not going out on patrol. I'm doing a school visit.
What's even better?
PJ. Yeah.
Have you managed to calm things down with Hilary Edmonds and her uncle?
It's under control, boss.
Yeah.
Rightio, my name is Senior Constable Schultz, and I work in the Traffic Operations Group. And this is Constable Adam Cooper, who will be talking to you this morning about his experiences in the police force. Constable Cooper, give your right name.
I'm new in Mount Thomas, and I'm also still learning about being a police officer. Senior Constable Schultz invited me along today because he thought it'd be a good idea if I met some of the people I'll be dealing with in the future. I certainly hope that's not the case. Now, I think the way to go here today is for you to ask some questions about the police force, and if I don't have the experience to answer them, I'm sure Senior Constable Schultz will be more than happy to help me out. That way you'll find out what you want to know.
Constable, have you ever shot anyone?
No, and I hope I never have to.
Have you seen your constable?
No, I've never shot anyone.
How fast your car go, Senior Constable?
Fast enough.
My mate's brother reckons his car's faster than any cop car.
Good on him. I hope I bump into him one day. Road safety is very important, though, kids. So be sensible, be safe, and stay alive. Any questions?
Yeah, what do you do with a land-grabbing thief like Tracy's old man?
My dad is no thief.
me!
Oh, town knows it.
Shut your face, you liar!
That's enough, Tracy. Simon?
I've been through all this with your uncle. Leave it to the courts. It isn't a police matter.
I'm just trying to avoid a long, drawn-out court case. You're the authority figure around here. Lovett'd have to listen to you. Can't you make him see sense?
If you're suggesting I use my position to coerce a litigant in a civil case, then I would have to report that to your supervisor.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Stan and Elsie are like Hillary's parents, boss.
I thought you said you'd calm this down.
Yeah, well...
If I was here in an official capacity, I'd do it myself.
Then it's just as well you're not here in an official capacity, isn't it, Detective Senior Constable? Now, I would suggest you get out of my office before I change my mind about talking to your supervisor.
Mount Thomas Police.
Hey!
Yeah?
What's the point in getting the boss offside, Hillary?
I want Lovett sorted out, PJ.
Sorted out how? By intimidating the guy?
If that's what it takes.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Thanks, bye. PJ, there's been a fire. The old Lovett place.
Tell the boss, and you stay put.
I saw the smoke, but there was nothing I could do.
Did you call the fire brigade?
It was deserted. I knew it had burned before they got here.
You see anyone enter or leave the property?
No, nobody.
This looks bad for you, Mr. Lovett.
Bullshit. He knew he couldn't have it, so he burnt it down.
Stan wouldn't give up that easy.
You're on his side.
We're not on anybody's side, Mr. Lovett. Mr. Horvath wanted this house. He was going to do it up.
Yeah? Well, women like new houses. He could have promised her a new one.
Why would he do that?
Work it out. He burns it down. I go to court. I look bad. She's happy. Thinks she'll get a new one. Bastard. I grew up in this house.
This used to be your place?
Yeah. Still is. Oh, shit.
What's funny?
He reckons it's me. No way. I'm not that stupid.
You didn't call the fire brigade. That's against you.
I called you, didn't I?
We don't put out fires, Mr. Lovett.
Well, the power wasn't on, so how did it start?
It's taking so long.
Patrick will let us know when he can, dear.
Bloody Patrick. Useless then, bloody useless now.
Let's just leave it, okay?
After the way he treated you. The way he's treating us now.
PJ's okay, Stan.
Why wouldn't he let you go out there? You're a policewoman. Got more damn brains than he'll ever have.
Stop it, the pair of
It wasn't Jeff Lovett's house. It was the house on your land.
you. Oh, no.
Oh, bastard.
Stan, I need you to come down to the station and answer a few questions.
Questions? What about?
Well, the fire was deliberately lit.
Well, you better be talking to Lovett.
Well, we've spoken to him.
Come off it, PJ.
It's my job, Hillary.
All right, I've got nothing to hide. I'll give you half an hour.
That was a roaring success, wasn't it?
If you want to speak to kids, you have to understand how they think.
I guess it helps when you got the mind of a 16-year-old.
Ha ha. Can't see any on your side.
No, you did right there, probationary Constable Cooper. I guess I'll just sit in here while you clean it off.
Let go! Back! No! Take it back! Let go! Break it up!
All right, what's it all about?
She started. She and her rotten thieving father.
We didn't steal anything. It's our place.
Tracy and Simon, isn't it?
Yeah, so what?
So what if I charge you with being a public nuisance, Tracy? No, I'll push off. Now, you come here. Do you want to try to get along better with girls, Simon? You'll have more fun that way.
She's just like her old man. She'll do anything to get what she wants.
Stan, where were you between 6 and 9 this morning?
Bacon and eggs with Elsie, shower, toilet, all that stuff.
Right. You got the Imperial all that time?
Oh, apart from the morning constitutional, yeah.
Okay. What time was that?
6 to 7.
Have time to drive out to the Lovetts and back?
Oh, I suppose so. But I didn't. He torched that place and hoped I'd get blamed for it. And you're going along with him. Do you think I'd be stupid enough to burn my own place?
Stan, listen to me. You said to me that you were going to sort things out yourself.
Oh, that was all talk. Heat of the moment stuff.
All right, did anyone see you on this walk?
Well, if they did, how would I know who they were?
Stan, you need witnesses. All I'm trying to do is help you here, all right?
Well, you could help with a drop of water. I'm as dry as a chip.
All right?
Oh, I feel...
Don't wait! First aid kit, mate.
Hey, call an ambulance.
Through the CPR.
Yeah, it looks like it. Start CPR. Get a cardiac compression, I'll do mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
Mouth guard. Mouth clear.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ambulance is on its way. 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pulse.
Okay, still nothing. At least the air's getting into his lungs again.
3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I got onto the hotel. Mrs. Horvath's on her way over.
Is he dead?
Stan!
Mrs. Horvath, you'd better wait over here. Look, the paramedics are with him. Why don't you come and sit down?
What happened?
It was a heart attack. He's alive.
Oh, Stan! I'm going with him.
Hillary, he just collapsed.
What happened?
I asked him a couple of questions and
You should have been here in the first place. What the hell were you doing? Threatening him?
it wasn't like that.
I know you, PJ. You're bloody-minded. You didn't have to do that down to the station.
He was
for
a
death.
suspect, Hillary. He might have done it.
He was never a suspect. Damn you.
I'll drive you to the
I'll
hospital.
drive myself.
I'll be at the hospital.
I was starting to think it was boring around here, but not anymore. Never seen a guy laid out like that before.
There'll be another one in a minute. You did a good job.
Thanks, boss.
Wayne, you were there. Did PJ come down too heavy?
No, just the opposite, in fact.
Well, did you get any new recruits for the force?
No, but I found out we've got a toddler's heartthrob here in the station. He speaks the language. He gets on with them very well. I'll tell you what, Lovett and his family aren't popular.
No, well, I'd get a bit crotchety too if I had to deal with him.
Is Jeff Lovett well known?
Family's been around here for yonks.
Are they wealthy?
That's all right.
Enough to fight a court case?
He's always had a name for being tight.
Is he mad enough to have burned the house?
Oh, Hillary, shouldn't Tom or PJ be handling this?
They're not too interested. Civil matter, you know.
I wouldn't underestimate them if I were you.
Look, Chris, all I'm interested in is Lovett's background. You know, anything to help our solicitors. Brothers, sisters.
Yeah, well, there was a brother floating around there somewhere. But seriously, I really think you should...
Okay, thanks, Chris.
How's he doing?
Oh, he's tough.
You have a history of heart trouble?
No.
Look, don't blame yourself, PJ. Could have happened to any of us.
Yeah. Just happened to be Hillary's uncle.
Ah, Hillary, yes. Chris rang. She wants a word about Hillary.
Hillary was asking a lot of questions about Jeff Lovett.
Oh, yeah? What about?
Background, family, want to know everything about him.
Yeah, did she seem kind of,
Anxious.
Yeah. She'll just keep winding herself up, that one.
Well, you know it pretty well, don't you?
No, it's like that when we lived together. She'd be working on the case harder and harder, no sleep. Around 2:30 in the morning, bang, she'd explode. And all hell would break loose.
Yeah, well, that look in your eye saying something else.
Well, remind me of that the next time I get slapped. She in her room?
No, she just left. Didn't say where she was going.
Ah.
If your uncle kicks the bucket, then you've got no rights at all. I've never spoken with your aunt so long as I've had the land.
You're a nice bastard, aren't you?
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
I'm warning you, Lovett. I'm a police officer.
Come here, sweetie. Hey! Oh!
All right, what's up?
Well, you saw it. She attacked me. She's personally involved. It's no longer a civil case. She can't act like a cop over this.
Well, I can't love it.
She's trespassing. Get her off.
You just said it was a civil matter. Isn't that what you said?
Then I'll sue the cops for interfering in a civil case.
Now, what do you hope to achieve by doing this?
Just make him anxious, panic him.
We've got to do this straight, Hillary. It's the only way we'll get him. Go on.
You're right.
You okay?
We could charge him with assault.
Yeah, the mongrel needs sorting out, boss.
A little more detail might be in order.
I went out to talk to him.
Alone?
I identified myself as a police officer and he assaulted me.
All right, get Lovett in.
No need.
Now, when you're finished with her, you might like to listen to my side of the story.
Enjoy hitting women, do you, Mr. Lovett?
I was minding my business fixing the fence and she started to come on heavy.
So who hit who first?
A man can use reasonable force to evict someone who's
Just answer
trespassed.
the question.
Well, I might have pushed her, but she threatened to put me out of business.
How is she going to do that?
Well, because she's a cop, she said she'd use her influence.
It's a very serious allegation, Mr. Lovett.
Yeah, said she was from the livestock squad. She'd make me life hell.
He was pushing me out the gate, so I defended myself.
So it seems.
When I told him I'd stop him getting the land, he went berserk.
Was this before or after you told him you were a police officer and that you could make his life hell?
Is that what he told you?
You're denying it?
I told him I was a cop. He said his claim couldn't be disputed if Stan dies.
Really? He knows which department you work for, where you're posted. How would he know all that unless you told him?
He also knows about the law of adverse possession. Does a lot of research, this bloke.
No witnesses, so it's his word against hers.
What did you see?
He was trying to push Hill around. He went too far, and she let him have it.
I don't need to tell you how serious this accusation is.
And we know that Lovett will stoop to anything.
Including slapping me around. What does it take to get some action out of you lot?
If you want to proceed with the assault charge, you'll have to make a statement in your own words as to what happened.
Then what are you going to do?
Ms. Edmonds says she was only acting in self-defence.
Well, what about the threats?
That'll be investigated internally.
And swept under the carpet. You're all in it with her.
If you wish to make accusations of impropriety against Detective Constable Hasham or myself, I'll refer you to the appropriate authorities.
Forget it. The issue is that land belongs to me and my family. I'm just taking what's legally mine.
Save it for the magistrate.
Stan rang a lawyer about adverse possession. He said the person who claims the land has got to think the land's his. Well, Lovett can't think the land's his.
Over the years, I've phoned Lovett from time to time to check on how the place was going. OK? So what's he going to be saying in court? I was just an old mate looking for a bit of a chinwag? He's going to have a hard time cooking up that sort of relationship between us, I tell you. A mongrel.
There'll be criminal charges against him over the fire.
That true?
Well, we don't have any proof that he started it, Stan.
Yet. You're going to have to leave it to us, Stan. We'll show him what he's up against. Fix him.
That's my girl.
I want Hillary Edmonds out of this station and out of my hair, PJ. And if there's one more incident between her and Lovett, I'll have internal investigations in here so fast she won't know what hit her.
Lovett is a liar,
I don't care what he is. She's a cop and so are you. And you're walking a very fine line yourself, PJ, so back off.
Hillary, what are you doing here? The gate was padlocked.
I can jump fences.
Now, you have been warned.
Are you going to report me?
Someone trying to get out of here in a hurry, and not on the way to the Lovett's place.
Lovett's cagey. You wouldn't drive straight home after trying to set a
Just
fire.
go back to the hospital, please.
I've just been. Stan's doing okay, no thanks.
No thanks to me. Is that what you're going to say?
He shouldn't have been questioned.
He was a suspect, Hillary. He had a revenge motive, for God's sake.
You never liked Stan because he could never forgive you for walking out
Now,
of
if you think that I'm responsible for his heart attack, then you... Forget it.
Forget what, PJ?
Will you, let me investigate the fire by myself, Hill?
Always make love to a woman to get your own way.
I'm serious.
About what?
About you not stuffing up your career.
Oh, my career.
And about us.
Don't make promises you can't keep, Patrick.
I, once told a prize bull how I felt about you.
You what?
Sounded pretty good at the time. Still does.
You're gonna keep it between you and the bull, or you're gonna tell me about it too?
I'm gonna keep it between me and the bull.
Well, I'm blowed if I know. Was in there yesterday.
Well, can you describe it for us?
You don't have to answer that, Dad.
Mr. Lovett?
Just a normal round sort of can.
What, something like this?
Every place round here would have a dozen of those.
You think if Dad had done it, he would have left the can there? Get real.
About time you got to school, love. You miss your bus.
There's your four-wheel drive, Mr. Lovett. Have you, replaced any taillights recently?
No. Should I be calling my solicitor?
No. No, not at this stage.
Who's minding the shop?
Sorry, mate. Have you got a problem?
Some maniac flew past me on Marnie's Road yesterday and made me swerve right off the road.
Did you get his registration number?
No, I didn't have any plates.
Well, why didn't you report this before?
I only just thought about it. I heard about the fire and that.
Oh, well, the driver would have shot through by now.
I can give you a description.
Nah, too late.
I'm wasting my time, aren't I?
Hang on, mate. What's your name?
Casey. Matt Casey. It was a flat tray four-wheel drive, sort of white and battered.
Write it down on this.
You must have left early.
Well, Lover's got a four-wheel drive, but there was no damage to the indicators.
PJ, listen.
I know. We could have had him replaced.
I was just going to say that I found out a few interesting things myself.
Hillary, do not even start.
I didn't even have to leave the hotel. Chris?
Morning, PJ.
Morning, Chrissy. Don't tell me she's been quizzing you again.
Not unlike someone else I know.
There's been a lot of talk since the fire. They reckon that Lovett took his old man to court to get the land that he's on now.
What, he's done it before?
I think it was something about his old man being feeble-minded, something like that.
PJ, I need to show Stan had active ownership of the land, that Lovett knew it didn't belong to him.
Oh, what about the transfer documents?
They'd have to be signed by the father.
And they'd have to be witnessed.
Thank you. I'll make sure everyone gets a copy of them. That'll do! Simon, Tracy.
Don't those two ever let up?
You'd think cousins would get along better, wouldn't you?
Cousins?
It is believed both Mr. Lovett and Miss Edmonds have decided not to lay charges. How would the Gazette know about that?
It's Lovett wanting to clear himself with the locals.
Police appear powerless to act in the dispute.
They'd blame us whatever we did. Ah, Hilary. How's your uncle?
Remarkably well. Elsie's having trouble keeping him off the phone to his solicitors.
What's she doing here?
We could be onto something, boss.
About the fire?
No, more about the land. It's one way of keeping her out of Lovett's hair.
Oh, the Lovets. They'll fight anybody, even themselves.
What do you mean?
Those Lovett kids, they're cousins. They'll end up killing each other.
Jeff Lovett witnessed the transfer. That proves he knew the land didn't belong to him. How did you go?
Well, there's nothing on G. Lovett. I've got a Max Lovett, though.
Chris said he had a brother, and Nick said there's a cousin, so they must still be in town.
Yeah. We've got a Max Lovett here. He's charged with assault. Case was dismissed. For microfiche. Must be an old one.
We get a copy?
Yeah.
Right, well, Max Lovett was charged with assaulting his brother 13 years ago.
That's when Uncle Stan bought the land.
Jeff ended up with a fractured jaw, laid charges, but later dropped. Well, he wouldn't forget that.
It was over the inheritance. Max missed out on his share of the land.
Motive for revenge? Let's get Max in.
If I'd have done it, I'd have burnt down his house, not the old man's place. Served the greedy bastard right.
So why did you fall out?
Things were tough back in 81. Prices were down and Dad had a crook back. So I got a job in the city and sent money home so he wouldn't lose the farm.
And Jeff stayed on to run it?
Yeah, and turned the old man against me. Said I wasn't interested in the land and he talked Dad into changing his will.
Didn't you dispute it?
Jeff had the smart lawyers and the money from the land Dad sold.
And he sold it to Stanley Horvath, right?
I don't know who he sold it to. I was too mad at Jeff.
So you broke his jaw?
I would have done worse if Mum hadn't been there.
But you saw a motive for revenge, sir.
Not me. But if you find the bloke who did it, I'd love to shake his hand.
Where were you between 6 and 9 yesterday, Mr. Lovett?
I was home in bed.
Someone verify that?
Nah, I was on my own.
After that?
I had an interview up at the Dole office.
You got a name?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a four-wheel drive, sir?
Oh, yeah, sort of. It's out of my block.
Sort of?
Yeah, well, it's been off the road for years. I can't afford the rego.
No one driven it lately?
Look, I gotta go. I just remembered I got a meeting with the teacher at school. My son's got himself in a bit of a scrape.
We'll be in touch, sir. Thank you. Well, he hates his brother's guts. He hasn't got an alibi for when the fire started.
Vehicle?
Get Wayne to check it out. Well done, mate. Mount Thomas Station back on channel.
Thank you, Mount Thomas Station.
Speeding report you took this morning, Cooper?
Yes, boss.
Well, Marnie's road runs right past the Lovett place. Did you get a vehicle description?
Yeah, I told him to write down the details. They should all be good.
A white Trayback four-wheel drive with no plates sped past me. I couldn't see the dropkick who was driving, but I had to swerve off the road.
What time?
9:15.
I didn't think it was important. It was an old report.
Max Lovett was at the Dole office. It checked out.
If Max Lovett wasn't driving, who was?
Well, there is one possibility.
Hey, Dad, how are you? Bloody little idiot.
What was that for?
Looks like you were right.
You took the car out on the road, didn't you? Over to the farm.
Who says?
You were slagging me off when it was you.
You keep out of it.
You wait till Dad finds out about this.
Mr. Lovett would like you and your son to come down to the station, and, you too.
I should have known you were behind it.
Your farm not big enough for the both of you, are you? You've got to steal somebody else's
Dad
land
never
as well.
stole anything.
Of course he did.
Come on, through this way. Let's go.
You can pay for damage in the house.
Take it out of my inheritance. You know the money I never got? Jeff, you and your daughter sit down and shut up till you're called for.
Dad said Uncle Jeff stole those people's land like he stole ours.
You thought that you could get at him?
You bloody idiot.
You're always talking about the farm and how we should be staying there.
Well, how's burning the house down going to help?
I don't know. I thought if they got blamed, well, then they'd send him to jail or something.
Tell me about the fire, Simon.
I rode my bike out to that mongrel's place and I stole a can of petrol from his truck. Then I went to where Dad keeps a four-wheel drive.
How did it start? I haven't driven that car for months.
I've driven it before.
You cheeky little bugger. Enough, Mr. Lovett.
Look, I only did what you said you were going to do. But you couldn't do it, could you? I had to do it. I had to get back at him.
Stan's promised me a new house.
So he's confident of the outcome then.
He's such a steamroller. He said, the wheels of the law grind slowly, but they grind thoroughly.
Lovett doesn't stand a chance. I mean, we've got proof that he knew his father sold to Stan. What is it?
Stan just died. I'm so sorry.
He was going to be all right. He told me he was. I was with him an hour ago. He was all right then.
Take you to the hospital.
Still don't know why you've got us in here.
Because I've got a 15-year-old nephew of yours in there who's about to be charged with arson, driving an unregistered vehicle and driving without a licence.
I knew he'd turn out to be a little crook.
He'll have a criminal record for the rest of his life because of this ridiculous feud between you and your brother.
What rubbish. Anyway, that was settled years ago.
Don't be stupid, Lovett. Disputes over land are never finished.
Dream on. I work for that land. It's mine.
Well, what about Tracy?
Tracy can look after herself.
You're passing your hatred onto your children. Doesn't that bother you?
You're kidding. I fight for what's mine.
Why don't you tell me how you felt? Talk to me about it. That's all you ever did, talk. You never did anything.
Oh, you know, I said I hated my brother, but I didn't want you doing stuff like this.
But you're always yelling and screaming and saying how it's our land and... He's the one that ripped us off.
But I didn't want you doing anything. He's my brother.
He's a bloody criminal.
Look, it's my fault we're broke, Simon. I could have tried getting a job. I know he diddled us, but he was always smarter than me.
Dad, he's not.
He always won over me when we were kids. I was always talking about how I'd get him one day. Yeah, one day's right.
Look at what he's done, Dad.
Look, I'll stand up in court and say it's my fault and how I talked you into doing it and led you on. I'll fix it. This time you'll see I'll fix it.
Sign there. You'll need to be present when your son's dealt with, Mr. Lovett.
You never did look after him, Max.
You watch yourself around me, Jeff. I've just ruined my son's life. He's only a kid sergeant. It's not his fault.
Whose fault is it?
I was listening to me. It's mine.
He's getting what's coming to him.
One day it'll happen to you.
I'll make it happen to others, Max. Haven't you learnt that yet?
One foot out of place and that bastard's gone.
Elsie and Stan had great plans for this place. I was going to come up and see them whenever I could. And you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you up anyway.
more permanent basis.
Elsie's gonna need me around for a while.
Yeah, look at that.
Could take months.
Yep.
A lot can happen.
Down for the funeral.
I'd like that.
Mount Thomas 308 at the Lovett's Place reported disturbance.
Copy, Mount Thomas 308.
You get out of my way, Lovett, or I'll run you down.
This is my land, you mug. No one comes through this gate without permission.
Come on, Stan. Let's leave it to the locals.
Hillary,
Hello, Wayne. We've got some fool here claiming my uncle's land is his.
could you ask your uncle to step out of the car? Thank you, sir.
So what's the stock squad doing here?
Up for the weekend with the rallies.
Someone's gonna get hurt. He needs to be sorted out.
I'll sort you out, Lovett.
This is my land.
I paid you good money for this property, and you know it.
All right, who owns the land?
I do.
Stan owns it.
He's never worked it. It's mine now.
Adverse possession.
Any landholder who relinquishes proprietorship and ceases to maintain active ownership of said holding forfeits title in favour of active user.
Translate that for me.
Well, I've adjusted stock there for 13 years. I've built 2 dams, fixed the fences. Horvath's done nothing.
But who actually owns the land?
I do. Under the law of...
Adverse possession. I've never heard of it.
Well, take a look at the Transfer of Land Act and the Limitations of Action Act. It's all in there.
How much land are we actually talking about?
150 hectares of prime grazing land and my old family home.
How are you? Elsie! Stan!
Hello, Patrick.
Oh, what brings you up this way, eh?
Trying to retire.
Oh, they finally tip you out of that big leather chair, did they, Stan?
With a little persuasion.
Patrick Joseph.
Hillary.
How's your command of common law? Stan had no idea what was happening. He bought the land 13 years ago for their retirement.
We were going to run some stock on the place. Beef cattle. Murray Greys.
Beautiful creatures.
I checked with Lovett by phone occasionally. Mainly left him to his own devices. I'd have come up here, but he made it sound as if everything was just fine.
I don't think that it's going to be straightforward if Jeff Lovett's involved. Story goes he took an export agent for a bundle. He was selling by weight, so he salted the feed and they drank gallons of water. He's always looking for the edge.
It's not right what he's doing.
I'll destroy the bastard.
You won't destroy anyone, Stan. We will handle this, all right?
Oh, yeah? How?
Well?
You seem very well informed on this legislation, Mr. Lovett. Sounds like a borderline scam to me.
Well, it pays to know the law, Sergeant.
Oh, Mr. Lovett. We don't want any trouble over this.
Well, there won't be any, so long as Horvath stays off my land.
Oh, yes, this is Sergeant Croydon at Mount Thomas. I need some advice from the prosecutor's office, please. Yes, I'll wait.
It'll be all right, Stan. We've got Hillary with us, and Patrick's good at his job. The police will sort it out.
Sergeant Croydon can see you now, Mr. and Mrs. Horvath.
About time, too.
What? Why didn't you tell me you were coming up?
I wanted to catch you with your pants down.
Oh, well, that could be arranged.
Figuratively speaking, of course.
Of course.